Hello everybody, welcome back to Indiethon Summer 2023. My name's Double Double, I'm your host for the next few games. And we've got our next run ready to go here with Sonic Robo Blast 2 Kart. But before we get into that, I do have a donation to read out that we received a while ago. A donation from Jamie de Benoit for $50. So thank you very much for your generous donation. With a message saying, chat, if you can, consider playing this game. The aesthetics are incredible. Take that comment as you will for any of the recent games that have been shown, because they're all good. And that $50 is going to the special mode incentive for Obscure, which with that donation is sitting at $50 total raised with a goal of $75. So $25 needed to meet that. And with that, I would be throwing it over to Adilor to get us into some Sonic racing.
Thank you. Hello, this is indeed Sonic Robo Blast 2 Kart. It is a fan game of a fan game. It runs in GZ Doom. It is a technical marvel as a result. Very impressive that it does what it does. And then we're going to take you through some mod content. A little bit of preamble before we actually start the run, but it's built into my estimate, so don't worry about it. So the game comes with its own add-on. Like it's like 5 characters in it by default, but there's just like bonus characters that's not enabled by default, but you can come in here and click on it, and that is literally how you enable a mod. And then you can come in here and be like player setup, and then look at all these extra characters you can scroll through. But applying mods is as easy as that. And then if you join an online server, the server will automatically send all the mods to you that you need. If you need to download them, it'll give it to you, even like updated track packs or whatever. It'll automatically apply all the mods you need to play on that server. So joining a server it's extremely painless. It's easy to just jump into whatever community you want and go for it. The only caveat is you have to restart the game if you're going to join a different server, because you cannot unload mods. You can only load them. To unload them, you must restart the game. So it is what it is. But I'm going to actually load my mod set by loading a replay and quitting that replay really fast. Instead of going through the list and loading them one by one, we're not playing this track. And then I'm going to fix this really quick. You'll see the stat grid on here. We'll talk about the stats a little bit later, but there's basically like 2 stats between acceleration, speed, and handling and weight. I'll talk about that a few tracks in. And I'm going to load a track so that I can show off a little bit. We're not going to play this one either. We're going to use this one to show off a little bit of a little bit more mod content. So some servers will have some like accessibility commands available to them. And one of them that I really like is restat. And again, we'll talk about stats later. But suffice to say that Mew's default stats are 5.2, but I like to play on 5.7. So this command, if the server has enabled, will on the next race, I can then play with 5.7, which is my preferred stat line. And then a lot of servers, as a kind of a comfort command, it's really nice, like an accessibility thing, have this thing called auto excel. So if you just type auto excel in your console, don't scream at me, hold on, let me enable it. If you type auto excel in your console, it auto excels for it. I'm not even touching hands off controller, but it's going. So it can be really nice because like holding the A button down on a controller can be strenuous, like strain inducing. So it's really nice if you just want to have kind of a more easier to control time. There's one disadvantage that you can't stop it. If you hold brake, you move backwards, but you can't really stop in place. So it can be slightly disadvantageous, but for the most part, it's just a really nice option. And then you can just type it again to toggle it off, and it stops. So those tend to be on a lot of servers because they're just really nice accessibility options. And then the last mod that we're going to show off before I get into there's 2 more mods. One of them is going to be the splits mod, which is what makes this run really all kind of work. It's basically like a live split timer in the game. You'll see it in the bottom right once I actually initiate the run. The greatest thing about it is that it basically does the whole track list for itself. I don't have to sit here and like go map by map and pick them out. It just has the whole thing arranged, and it'll run through them automatically, so I don't have to do the least amount of work possible to pull off the whole run. But I'm going to actually get this run going. When I hit enter on this command, it will actually start the run. And I'm going to do that in 3, 2, 1, go. And now you can see it in the bottom right. So cool thing about this, you'll be able to see if I get any gold splits. I no boosted because I was late. Okay, good start. The perfect starting boost at the beginning is right when you hit 1. I believe it's a 3-frame window, and if you're late, you get no boost at all. So it's punishing if you miss it. If you're a little bit early, it's fine. You want to be early rather than late, because there are like 3 different levels of starting boost. But I'm going to be greedy and go for perfect boost all the time because I want to. I'm going to go fast. And some of these tracks actually have cycles on them that I really actually kind of need perfect boost to optimize. If I don't get them, then I have to be like, what cycles am I on? So this is SRB2 Kart. Again, it's a fan game of a fan game. It takes some of the assets of Sonic Robo Blast 2 and utilizes them and turns it into a kart racer, because that is the thing you do with games, is turn them into kart racers. Even if it involves demaking them onto the PSX or something like that. Shoutouts to Bloodborne Kart. Again, it runs in GZ Doom, which makes it amazing that it does as well as it does. Compared to other kart racers, it's a little bit... The one word I like to call it is a little bit slippery. And the drifting is definitely something to get used to compared to if you're coming from like Mario Kart or whatever. It's definitely does not feel like Mario Kart. There's a learning curve to it. But once you get into it, it's extremely satisfying to play at a high level, whether you're just solo racing or playing online with a bunch of people. And online racing on some servers can get extremely competitive. Like our one of my 2 primary racing groups, well, both of them really can get really into it in competitive matches. Okay. Cool. This is last lap, so I'm going to use this last boost a little bit early because there's no after the line cut. Not bad. I like this track, Crystal Caverns. It's kind of a nice warm-up track. There's nothing too crazy about it. My script notes for this says Galaxy Man. That's all it has to say. You'll find for a lot of this run, there's consistently good music. The modding community generally has a taste for very good music for their tracks, and pretty much all of these are no exception. Some of them I've chosen because, like, oh, the track is fine, but the music is amazing. There's just a few of those sprinkled in. This music for this one's slightly quiet, unfortunately. The balancing isn't perfect. In a perfect world, obviously, every track would sound exactly the same in terms of its volume level, but can't exactly have that. But I'll just not talk over this as much and let you listen to it. How about that? The terrain color on these might think you, on the outside and inside of these roads, might make you think it's rough terrain, but it isn't. This right here is, but you can actually kind of just go over it. And you might have noticed that gap in the guardrail there on the inside of that turn. There's actually a funny Easter egg on this track. If you fall down in there really slow and land on a little platform and blow it, it teleports you into a box that you cannot escape. You just kind of go to jail. And there's a meme in that box. So if you want to see what the meme is, I would recommend checking this game out for yourself. Find any server that has this track specifically, or you can go on the forums, and I boosted early for no good reason, and find this track specifically, load it up, and then you can see what the meme is. Okay, Hot Crater is coming up next. This is a rally map, so there's no laps on it. It just goes from start to finish. I don't like rally maps too often, usually, especially in racing, because like it diminishes the value of some of the items that are meant to be left on the track as obstacles, like bananas and spike balls and stuff. But rally maps can be really fun because some of the best ones are like a really cool journey, and Hot Crater is one of the best examples of just like a really fun kind of descent into the bottom of this crater. And I believe it's a reference to a stage from Sonic Advance 2, I think, 2 or 3. I don't remember exactly which. Oh, that's a wall. Don't touch walls. Oh, I'm drilling early. Okay, it's fine. I went way too adventurous on that turn. This track makes good use of some slopes. You can see this speed slope makes it go very fast. We're going to get a rainbow off of this turn if I don't touch the wall. Yes. So there are 3 levels of drifting, drift boost. The difference between the second and third one is very large. So most turns you don't get a rainbow off of, but rainbows are extremely powerful. Here's our first boost shortcut. It's very clearly labeled as a shortcut you need a booster for. And there's our first instance of a nice. You've seen me get little OK pop-ups when I go over jumps. I'm getting like a little bit of a trick boost, exactly like you see in like modern Mario Karts. You tap a button as you go over a jump and it gives you a little boost. Unlike modern Mario Karts, the button you press by default for it is brake, not your like drift button or your jump button actually in Mario Karts, but there's no jump button in this. That can be configured by default on the brake button, which you think is a little weird to get used to at first, but it's actually pretty intuitive once you're used to it. Patient this cycle? No, I'm late. Okay. I'm a little bit late on this cycle, so I wasn't sure what I needed to be. I gauged it wrong. But that's the main kind of mod that really makes, I feel like is probably the most fun in modded content is called Acro Basics, which sounds weird because it's a kind of like a version of acrobatics. Acrobatics is more complex in a way, kind of a higher skill ceiling, if you will. The way it handles its jump tricks is like over every jump, you basically have like a meter that builds up, and you want to get it as close to the top as possible without filling it completely. And you can get a wild on almost every jump if you do it right. But Acro Basics, basically what it does is it lets you chain them together. So you kind of, on some tracks you'll see later, it gets really crazy. We'll be stacking multiple wild boosts together. Ballistic Reef has a neat mechanic. I'm pausing because I want to get my start boost right. Can't talk and start boost at the same time. This ramp and one of the other ones have they like shove you down at a certain set speed, so you can do like a 360 and get a rainbow really easy there. It's kind of funny. Oh, I'm already slow on my cycles. Okay. I should have gone farther around that, but I got greedy. Okay. Well, now I have to read the cycles dynamically again. So every track like has its own like everything. If there are obstacles for it on a set cycle, I'm gonna early boost this. Yeah, okay. I wanted to get through that without getting burned. That was probably the best option. And like I said earlier, most of these I'm very used to having like just being on certain cycles based on where I'm gonna be, whether I got a starting boost or not. If I'm slow, then I have to kind of dynamically read some of these, which sometimes I'll mess that up. It's generally fun. On the backside here, we'll hit these two and cut through the water. And got the radical. Cool. That radical doesn't do much in terms of adding speed there because you get shoved under the lift at a set speed anyway, but it's cool to get. Okay, where's the wall going to be? I'm just going to go way around it here. It's fine. I'm going to go around the wall. The burner, that's fine. Cut through the water a little bit. Next track, yeah. The next track... Next track we're going to talk about? No, it's the track after that. We're going to talk about wilds. Okay. You'll get to see some examples of wild jumps in a couple tracks here once we get into Dark Race, which is one of the two vanilla tracks I have chosen for this setup. I have 30 modded tracks and a couple of vanillas because those two vanilla tracks I like because of what I call the fun factor that they gain from Acro Basics in particular. Yeah, I took a ton of time on that one because of that missing the cycle. Yeah, it just happens. Liquidation Circuit instantly has my favorite song in all of video gaming. Chemical Plant Zone, I consider to be my absolute top favorite song in any video game ever. And this is an awesome remix of it. It's like 11 or 12 years old. Has a couple of interesting mechanics too with the moving walkways. You obviously want to go on the green one, not the red one. Oh, I clipped the fence and wrong drifted. Okay, that's fine. Trying really hard to optimize some of these corners and it's biting me. But that's racing game for you. You try really hard to optimize it as much as you can, and those guys are in a weird position. Those little things on the edge there are just springs in disguise. They will bounce you very high up into the air, and I don't want that because it's not fast to be up in the air. Generally, when you're in the air, your speed isn't changing, and sometimes that's good, other times it's bad. If you go over a jump with a lot of speed, it can be very good because, again, your speed is locked while you're in the air, and you can often use that to your advantage. We'll see a lot of that later in different tracks. But some springs are springs that will set your speed when you hit them, and usually those are yellow. We'll talk about spring colors also, but yellow springs are generally the ones that will set your speed to a certain number. Red ones are the ones that will usually preserve your existing speed. So if there are red springs you can boost over, those are the ones that give you a lot of preservation of your speed, usually. And blue ones do whatever they want. They're blue springs, and who knows what they do. They're blue. Okay, here comes Dark Race. Yeah, one of the two vanilla tracks I've included because really cool jumps. Perfect boost. Okay, so there's that 3-frame. I'm pretty sure it's a 3-frame window. That's what I'm told. You get that really strong starting boost. And if you miss it late, you get no boost. So it's a bit risky to go for if your timing isn't right. Okay, got the good bounce. Boost over that hill, and then here comes our first instance of the wild boosts. We're gonna get on the back of this here. I'm braking really hard over this first one or the second one to get the third one, and then look to the right and over the grass, hit the wall. Why am I in the air? Okay, cool. I don't want to be in the air. Being in the air is bad usually. I know why I'm in the air. It was a rhetorical question. There's these little mounds in the grass that if you hit them just right, you can pop up in the air off of them. It's not consistent, and I tried to route in some extra trick boosting off of them at one point, and I stopped trying because they're extremely inconsistent. It only happens when you don't want it to, basically. Okay, that's not bad. Dark Race was surprisingly tricky to optimize. There are a few options when you're kind of learning this track and figure out what's the best line to take. And I went through several iterations of this trying to figure out what really worked. Yeah, this track is rough. Yeah. Okay, that's not bad. All right, Shuffle Square. Another instance of really cool music. Okay. And the route for this one, the mini-map for this course, you'll notice looks like a mess, and that's because it is. There are a bunch of potential lines through this one. And there's also, weirdly, a part of this track that is almost completely inaccessible if you don't have, like, very specific stats. But I hook into the very end of that, like, that path that's right before the finish line. That's basically, you have to be 9 speed and hit, like, the jump right before it at full speed, and you can, like, just barely pop up to hit it. It's really weird that it's there. It feels like almost like it should be just, like, a little bit lower, like they forgot to lower it to make it accessible to everyone. But we hook on. I just jump to the last part of that other path and then take this cool straight path over the line, which is really unique. You usually don't see tracks have, like, 2 different sections of track that go over the finish line. If I'm extremely tight on these last jumps, I can just barely keep the chain going. Yeah, so you can see if you're watching, like, the sparkles that come out behind. When those sparkles are going, that means if you hit another jump, you can keep the chain going. That was a really good time, actually. That was almost gold. Yeah, as long as those sparkles are visible, you know you could hit another jump trick and keep the chain going. And it's coming from the shortcut jump. It's extremely tight. You can just barely make it and get a wild on the backside, but it's super duper tight. This is Disc Operating Zone. It's a really neat four lap. This track, when we're playing online, tends to be extremely, I booted that burst earlier for no good reason, tends to be extremely aggressive for whatever reason. It's kind of like a Fast and Furious 4-lap track. Because it is a kart racer, and it's designed to be raced in multiplayer. So there are a ton of different items. You can see them scrolling through the box every time I touch one. I'm always obviously only ever going to get single boosts when playing solo, but you have, like, spike balls and bananas, and this game's version of the blue shell is really cool. It's called the SPB, which I forget exactly what it stands for. We have to call it the Super Painful Ball. It follows you, but not at a speed that will just make it hit you all the time. You can actually outrun the SPB, which gives it a really neat skill element. As long as you race optimally and don't make any, like, mistakes that slow you down too much, you can never get hit by the SPB. It'll follow you around the whole time, and you'll be just fine. That angle was a bit weird. I'm going to bail out of that. Okay. This one goes so fast, it's almost over. If it's being a 4-lap, it's just we're at the end already. What's next here? Let's talk about Rainbow Drift. I already talked about Rainbow Drifts, actually. I did that early. All right, Pentagon. This is a really neat 5-lapper. Okay. Self-projected bomb. That might be I think that's right. Yeah. But we like to call it the Super Painful Ball because it really is. If it hits you, it is the most detrimental thing that can hit you in the game. Oh, I almost missed the ramp there. And that would have put me in the wall, and that would have been bad. It's okay. I didn't miss the ramp. I won't miss the ramp. I promise. I can't promise that. I might miss the ramp. I miss that ramp surprisingly often. This one also is like this really quick and dirty 5-lapper, which tend to be extremely aggressive. Yeah, this one's a lot of fun in multiplayer. especially when like one of the primary servers I play on gets really filled up, and we get like it goes up to 15 maximum, and it just gets crazy. It gets really hard to do anything optimally because there's just so much bumping around going on. And I like to play on 5-7. Let's talk about stats, actually. I like to play on 5-7. So 5 being the balance between acceleration and speed, and 7 being the balance between handling and weight. The 7 in particular I like because that means I get to kind of win more like direct contact fights. Being heavier, I just kind of, you know, I'm less vulnerable to being bumped around by other players. And then 5, I like just being a good mix between speed and acceleration because... in racing, you're going to get hit by stuff a lot. You're going to need acceleration to recover from bad situations. In solo, you could definitely just go for higher speed, but I like to keep my solo play consistent with my online play just because it's very comfortable. Oh, I didn't know boost there. That was terrible. Very comfortable. So I just know exactly what to expect out of my drift timings. I took that very wide and didn't get the funny terrain there. We'll see it on lap 2 probably. But, so the other nuance about the stats is that, with, you saw on the grid earlier, I am early and bad. Okay, cool. I boosted early, and that was bad. Okay. But the, you saw the stat grid at the beginning I showed. The bottom left corner and the top right corner are also their own scale of how fast your drift sparks build up. So if the fastest drift spark building stat set is 1 for acceleration speed, which is max acceleration, and then 9 on handling and weight, which is maximal weight. So minimum high acceleration and weight is your fastest drift spark building rate, which is 1-9 is a really weird stat set to play. There we go. So there's a bit of funny terrain there on the inside. You drift over, you can get another jump, which keeps it going, and you can get a radical out of here. Funny terrain. We've got one of our guys in one of our main racing groups is really good at finding the funny terrain in this game, and being what these maps are made in. Again, GZ Doom. There's just sometimes there's just janky terrain all over the place, and you can take advantage of it in weird ways. But most of these tracks are really good and well polished. The modding community for this game is really crazy. They come up with a lot of cool stuff. And generally they have a taste for really good music. I will say it repeatedly, there's so much good music. There we go. 2 out of 3 in bed. That's another example you see of being in the air and having your speed preserved. Even though I'm bouncing on those mushrooms, I'm still considered in the air, never touching the ground. And it waits to activate the trick boost until you actually touch the ground. So you get basically to hold on to it while you're bouncing on those mushrooms. And that's Mushroom Hill. Okay. Robotnik Winter. This is a track that I like that not a lot of other people do. I think it's a really neat 5-lapper. Most of my racing groups do not agree with my like for this track. I don't know. I like it a lot. There are like 3 different paths you can take on this one. I figured out the optimal path, of course, because I want to go as fast as possible. It looks like it's an ice track, and there's a little bit of ice in places, but like I kind of just ignore it. One of the other that's a run drift. One of the other paths has a lot more ice to deal with, but the optimal way there is just to cut that ramp short and get a jump off of it, which lets you chain into the radical off the red springs. And I use the last boost for the line to cut that little bit of snow after the line. These are red springs that I think are not completely red springs. I think they actually give you a set speed. I think. Those red springs are just normal red springs. Yeah, like I said, generally the spring colors behave how you expect them to, but the map makers technically can do whatever they want with them. Oh, I missed the input for the jump there. Okay, no, those are red spring. Oh, no, red spring. Never mind. Okay, that was definitely 59, not 75. Going over that one. There's a good example later on. One of my very last tracks in the list of springs that are yellow, but they're definitely function like reds. So there's kind of a convention that you might follow if you're making a map for this, but obviously you're not required to. People will figure out your tracks regardless of what you do with your spring colors. And then last lap, I just use this boost and go really high over because I'm not going to get over the line to use over the snow. And that's Robonic winner. Monocropolis is next, yeah. This track is full of shortcuts everywhere. And in racing, it can often be advantageous on this one to sandbag and get items to go over the shortcuts, because they're all boost shortcuts. And they're all extremely powerful, actually. Like, I tend to not pick this track, and I tend to not vote for it in multiplayer because I don't like how shortcut-centric it is. You can... If you're, like, in the lead on lap 3, you're not going to win. They're going to be, like, half the pack will overtake you just because they will be getting catch-up items and able to take all these shortcuts, which are extremely powerful. Oh, I'm going to die. Yep. I touched the wall for no good reason. Ooh, that's a bad respawn. Okay. That's the first time that's happened in a long time. That jump, actually, out of that shortcut is weird because, if your speed isn't high enough, you actually can't make that jump without a booster. I think you have to have a minimum 5, maybe 4 speed to get it for your speed stat. But if it's too low, you will not make that jump. You need a second booster to get out of that shortcut. And then that item there, I just basically pop it early to get out of the clouds. There's like 3 item boxes basically like back to back right there. So I'm just going to burn them real fast. And I believe there is a, I'm told there is a detriment to calling your item boxes early. See, when you, if you don't wait for the roulette to finish, you get like a weaker version of the item, I believe. With the boost, it's generally not a problem. Like that, when I call it early, it does like it flashes red and buzzes at you to tell you that you called it early, but it's still good enough for my purposes. There's no real case in any of these tracks where I need to like slow down and wait for the roulette to finish giving me the full boost out of that item. If I'm calling them early, it's on purpose because I don't want to be driving in the rough waiting for it to actually finish spinning. Okay. Yep, that one. It cost me 13 seconds because that was a bad respawn. Yep. Egg. Oh, there's a perfect boost. Okay. Don't hit the pillar. Oh, that's fine. Okay. It's fine. This was a really cool shortcut line. The camber in this one might go a bit outside the walls because this track is kind of narrow, and I tend to put my camera in the walls. And I have my camera actually pulled. You might notice if you've seen this game before and you play on like default camera settings, you might notice my camera is pulled quite a bit back and up for visibility. So my camera might go a little bit into the walls on this track, which is just going to be out of bounds. And oh, that's a weird angle. It's fine. Okay. Huh. It'll be fine. I know where I'm going. Oh, that was the terrible angle. Okay. Okay. It's fine. Yep, there we go. A little bit out of bounds camera. And then because it's on the other side of the wall, you don't get to see anything. Nothing's rendering out there. Yeah, this is a sleeping egg zone. I just like, say egg. Because egg. Yeah, that's better. Another thing I would like about 5.7, the stat line I prefer, is that it's close enough to the bottom left corner that I can get away with a lot of drift boosting, which in some cases is really great as a backup. If I get stuck somewhere and I need to just get my speed back, I might just literally kind of sort of Mario Kart-ish, like kind of pivot in place and just get my level 1 boost just to get back up to speed. Metallic Madness here is a really neat 2-lapper with a lot of unique hazards and a funny little radical chain right at the beginning. I think I'm already slightly slow on my cycle, so I'm not going to go for the super greedy strategy. I'm going to avoid the pillar here and not get thrown into the void. Yeah. A little bit right to dodge the saw. Yes. And we're fine. Okay. If I got my perfect boost there, the cycle is actually significantly different. I can just barely make this. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I got the perfect boost on this one. There's a completely different cycle pattern that I know what to do with. Yeah, this track is a good example of just how the cycles can be different based on the level of starting boost you get. I'm gonna go for the middle on this one. I'm fine. It's fine. I got through it. Nothing bad happened. That's gonna mess up my route through here, actually. Because I have to go around the outside of the spinner. It's fine. I didn't get squished. That's what's important. I get to use this. Hopefully the saw isn't in the way. It's fine. Okay. If there's one thing I don't like about this track, it's that jump there, because you cannot see where the saw blade is before you jump. So you might just careen into it helplessly. It is what it is. But if you know where you are on the cycles, you can anticipate it. But without... Oh, I still got squished by that. I thought I could get through. Okay. My bad. I thought I had time to get through. Fine, then. Squish that cat. You might also notice that this is the Mew is a 3D model. I believe all the base characters, including the bonus characters, all have 3D models included. And there's an option you can enable in the settings for that. And some custom characters will also have models for them. And Mew is one of my favorites and does have a 3D model, and it's really cool. The shortcut here on Weapon Hanger is way more powerful. The springs on the main path are... they shoot you way up into the air at a set speed. It takes a long time to come down. So that shortcut there is extremely good to know about. Ooh, I didn't get a booster there. That's actually unfortunate. I have to go run the long way in this turn. If I got my last booster there, I would cut through the sand there and save a little bit of time. It's okay. Weapons Hanger is a lot of fun, and you get to fly over the finish line. It's really cool. Weapons Hanger shows off how springs ideally work. Yellows will just pop you up at a set speed. Reds will conserve your momentum. It's a great way to just see how they normally work. Oh, yep, okay. So I have to hit this. I have to hit my head on the ceiling if I want to get the pop up onto the yellow and keep the chain going. But I didn't hit the ceiling there. It's fine. Nothing bad happened there. It was just slightly suboptimal. Okay, Hudall Trench. This is my last rally wrap? No, 2 out of 3. Got the perfect, which means I get to do this. Yeah, if you get the perfect boost there, you get to go up on the walls, and you can get a jump boost off the red springs, and it gets a ton of speed because you're maintaining the speed from the perfect boost. Very powerful start if you get that one. So that's an extremely important perfect boost to get. Oh, why am I in the air? Why am I in... Where... Oh, janky terrain. I love this game so much. That's never happened before. I've never experienced that terrain in all of this I've played. Yeah, that was cool. Okay. Unanticipated complication. It's fine. Also, this is like the best Bubbleman remix, which is also like 11 or 12 years old. And Bubbleman's an incredibly good Mega Man song. One of the best. Another instance of speed preservation here. 87 through that whole drop. This is like the best Bubbleman remix. I can't remember what it's called, but if you look at the top left when every track starts, you can see the name of the music that's been chosen for it. So. Really good red spring to boost over there. I like this right path on the split here because it lines up a little bit better for the dash plate and the springs that are coming after it. Oh, I missed the dash plate. Fine, whatever. I call them dash plates because F-Zero. Yeah. Speaking of F-Zero, I don't think I talked about it yet. Brake drifting is one of the most important techniques in this game. So in F-Zero, you have what is called blast turning, which you're like tapping your acceleration button when you're going around turns for greater control. In this game, your brake drifting is kind of similar to that. Like you're tapping your brake button while you're drifting, and it gives you a lot more control around corners. You don't want to brake too much because you'll lose a lot of momentum, and that completely throws everything off. Cool. All right. Obsidian has a really neat shortcut that goes to the middle. That's kind of specifically hard to set up because I need to slow way the heck down to get it. That was too much down. Okay. That's fine. It's kind of hard to gauge exactly how much I need to slow down there. If you're going through rough, you don't want to slow down too much or you lose just like it becomes not worth it. But if you get just the right amount of speed there, you can get a wild out of that and it just kind of really works out. This map has a sneaky shortcut on it that we don't get to see because it doesn't really route in with the way I go through this. I don't know if we get to see it. Off on the right here, yeah, between those signs on the right, the chevron, I missed the thingy, oh well. I didn't get the box there, it's fine, it's not a big deal. But coming around that after the wild there, the left chevrons that are against the wall, there's actually a sneaky shortcut between them. It's a boost shortcut, so you need one to go through it. But you can impress your friends with that one, because most people don't know about that one. It's very well hidden. There we go. That's how it likes to look. Yeah. And then I just grab this one early, call it, mash it, get to this dash plate, because there's just another box coming up earlier. Like, some tracks just have item boxes that are really close together, so you kind of just, like, you know, mash out a boost, whatever. It's not really optimal, but it's better than not using it at all, so. The boost items are powerful enough that you generally don't... Routing these tracks generally doesn't skip any boxes. You get as many items as possible because they're all worth it enough. For the most part. There are a couple instances in which we actually skip items on purpose because the benefit for them is good enough. We'll see that coming up in not too long when we get to Untitled Forest. That's a good example of it. A little early my drift timing there. Sometimes my drift releases are just like perfectly timed out. So if I'm like a couple frames early and I release it and I don't get a boost out of it, I'm like, feels bad every time. Yep, got the wild. It's a little bit tight to get that, and I just slam the wall here so instead of trying to actually take that turn at wild speed, which is incredibly difficult to do, and I'm more likely to go in the lava if I try it. So I just take the wall hit and go for consistency, and you still get enough acceleration out of it that wall hit really doesn't cost much because the wild acceleration is pushing you really hard. You'll notice my top speed goes up to 119 in wild speed. Very powerful. worth it to cut this corner and just get a level 1 boost to get your speed back out of the rough. And again, really tight if I can get this one. Yep, got it. Cool. It looks... I got it both times, but it's actually a pretty tight timing to even get that wild. And I touched the wall for no good reason. Ugh. Okay. I call this game slippery at the very beginning, and it's a bit slippery compared to other kart racers. It takes some getting used to. Floor dimensions are another unique mechanic. You're going to see orbs all over the place. I no boosted. I felt it. It was late. I was like, I went for it. I'm going to immediately ignore these boosters because I want to be in the air as little as possible. That's a set speed jump, despite the fact that it looks like you go really fast. I'd rather be on the ground getting an insane speed from this ramp, which works out overall to be better. So these blue orbs give you a little bit of speed when you go through them, and it accumulates. You'll see my speed going up just really temporarily. So it's generally worth running through strings of them if you can do so. And it has these really cool jumps. This course is impossible to SPB. So there's a cool kind of modded mode called SPB attack. Basically, it's like a solo racing mode where you always have an SPB chasing you, and it removes all the items. So it's literally just like, oh, I missed that line. Race optimally or die. And that jump, the SPB will hit you like every time. There's something about that jump; it just catches up to you. This track is unfortunately impossible to ball. Yeah, you can see on some tracks I get away with a lot of like almost snaking. Like I'm taking advantage of getting drift boosts on corners that other stat lines wouldn't because it takes longer for their drift sparks to build up. I get away with a lot. That's why I like kind of being really close to the bottom left corner. Not 1-9. 1-9's crazy, but I like 5-7 a lot. Okay, that was a good floral actually. I'll take it. Oh, Cloud Top Spider. This is a nice chill track. With a really hard to get wild going over the line. If I can get it, it's super tight timing. Maybe I can get it on lap 2 or 3. Starts off with smashing through this wall as a shortcut. And there are 3 split paths here. These paths that time out all about the same. I like to take this one because it's the most consistent and you get to have a level 2 drift boost coming out of the corner here. It doesn't look like those are jumps that you can trick off of, but you can. They pop up just enough, like imperceptibly so. If you're crazy, you can cut this turn inside and get a very inconsistent jump off of that corner. I have yet to figure out how to make it consistent, and I go on the lava more times than I get the jump, so it's not worth doing unless I'm going for like PB ILs. But I'm not going to try to go for crazy stuff like that in a marathon and lose like a few more seconds than I already have. Granted, like most of my crazy tricks I might go for are, I might lose a few seconds off of it, but I'm going to still be pretty reasonable. Not go for super risky things. I've tried really hard on this track to figure out if I can make it more consistent because I like to get that. I like to be able to chain it into a wild on the backside here, going on the line more consistently, but it just can't quite figure out the good angle for it. I'm not getting the third jump there off of the mesh, the grating there. Weirdly inconsistent. You can probably hear I'm holding my drift in the air. As long as you hold your drift over a jump or whatever, like your progress, your drift progress will be maintained. So you can actually like, yeah, see there I got it that time. You can hold on to that and release it after the jump, which can be advantageous in a lot of situations. F-Zero, unique mechanic, speed. You're gonna notice my top speed on these tracks. On this track, there are 2 F-Zero tracks. I only have one of them in, but Mute City and Big Blue, they just have their top speed forcibly made higher. I think I cap it at like normally like 77, 78, something like that. Whereas my normal top speed is 57. I did not need a boost there. I wanted to save it for this. It's okay. All of the jumps on this one are set speed jumps. There's no point in boosting over them. Don't mind that weird console error. It pops up on the little refill lanes for whatever reason. The refill lanes are purely aesthetic. They don't really do anything mechanically, but they're cool to see. They're thematic, and I like them. And get a funny jump off of this corner. Yeah. Just kind of drift into it, and a lot of times on jumps like that, I'm kind of just like, tapping brake, like rapidly, and that just kind of makes sure I get the input for the trick boost. I boost on this jump. I don't boost on the jump. Save it for the rough. I don't know what I'm doing. Then I might have. If the time went down, if the red time decreased on that last one, then yeah. But it only wasn't gold. I haven't got any gold that I've noticed. It'd be cool to get at least 1 gold in here. But I mean, at this point, my golds are all pretty good, so it'd be a little bit surprising to get one. I do love this Mew model so much. It is my favorite. I boost over this one because we fly right to the line. There's basically no point to use that last boost, so. Okay, Untitled Forest. This is a really cool track that has a different route every lap because of cutting different corners and where the items lay out. And that was kind of like my main motivation for putting this one on. Like, it routes really neat and kind of shows off some of the different possibilities. So because we have a boost on this lap, we get to go over the grass. This corner is a free rainbow every time. At least on my stats it is. If you're as close to the bottom left corner as I am or better, then you'll definitely just get a free rainbow there. You can probably be a little bit farther away too. So on lap 2, I saved this boost here and cut this corner with it. It's actually worth cutting that corner and missing an item box overall. And then there's some funny terrain. Got it, nice. So if you kind of just hold brake over that and go up inside of that little jump, you can probably just get 2 jumps. It usually works. It's inconsistent, but it usually works. Funny terrain. Again, GZ Doom. And maps are made with terrain. Sometimes it's a little bit janky in places, and it can be fun to take advantage of. Ooh, I touched the wall. Okay. That corner cut is surprisingly tight to do really optimally. Funny terrain? Yep, got 2 of them. Yeah, you just get a free nice there. It's kind of funny. And then on lap 3, we're not saving a booster after the line, so I just kind of shove myself over into this shortcut path, which is longer in terms of length, but it goes faster because there's a bunch of boosters on it. And that's Untitled Forest. Inferno Citadel is next. This is a really fun 5-lap, which tends to be a bit chaotic in multiplayer. And it has one of the most catchy songs that will get stuck in my head every time I play this track. Hey, you'll learn some shortcuts watching me. I figured out where all the good shortcuts on at least these maps are. Of course, none of them will apply when racing because they're like a lot of them are just boost shortcut that I won't get to use. I'm gonna go back to like multiplayer racing after I'm done with this, and I won't know how to drive on half these tracks. I'm gonna be too used to taking every boost shortcut. That jump right there over the lava is you do need a certain amount of speed to go over it. If I'm going too slow, you just will go in the lava. Those are red springs. They don't really give you any additional speed, or not enough to get over the lava from like a standstill. So the ball's fine. Okay. This song is overpowered. Yeah, exactly. That's how that should look. That was really good. Yeah. Track is really technical. There's a lot of really tight turns. It's one of the longer ones too. It actually totals out about 2.5 minutes, whereas most of them tend to be more like closer to 2 minutes, like 1:30 to 2. Which makes me think this one probably... Oh, I think I boosted earlier or something. I killed my speed somehow. It's fine. I'm at a weird angle, so I'm not going to go for the dash plate there. Flirting with a disaster with that ball there, but it worked out. I didn't touch it. Everything's fine. I touched the wall. Okay, I'm going to make sure I get a drift boost there just to get over the springs. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that shortcut turn is... There's just like a lot of actions that have to happen at the same time, and it doesn't always go exactly how you want it to go. It's a bit tricky. Okay, Warped Woods. This track is another point of contention in our racing groups, as a lot of people think it's a little bit too janky and difficult and weird. I like it a lot, personally, and the music slaps. Listen to the bass on this. It's so good. Ooh, that was awkward. Okay. I hit the wall. I didn't want to hit the wall. That's how it's supposed to go. I hold the drift boost until after the jump so I can hit the conveyor belt and get that boost immediately. And notice when a drift releases, the boost actually pushes you in like the direction you're facing, and you can use that in a lot of cases to correct your vector or whatever you want to call it. It's really good for turning assistance. It can just pull you out of curves. You realize like you're halfway through a curve and you're like, oh, this is going weird. I'm just gonna just drift boost out of it and get a better angle out of it. And that's just like another thing about this game. I didn't get my input there on the jump. Another thing about this game that makes it just like really unique of a kart racer. The drifting is just weird to get used to, but once you've got a handle on it, it's really satisfying. Is that a gold Warped Woods? Why? That wasn't that... Okay, whatever, I'll take it. I got a gold, yay, let's go. I'm a minute behind PB, but I'll take a gold, that's cool. Alright, Blue Mountain. Last vanilla track. I only put 2 vanilla tracks in, but this is 2 of 2. This jump you can do a free 360. It's just fun to do. It doesn't do anything, but you can if you want. By playing Blue Mountain on this showcase, I'm about to reveal a shortcut, a cool trick I've discovered that I don't think anyone in the racing groups I play with knows about. I'm about to reveal one of my secrets, and everyone will be using it against me. And it's free. Relatively free. You drift into this, and you pop up on this. Oh, I didn't get the jump. Oh, well. Never mind. You can get a jump off of that little angle of ice I tried to jump off of, then get the trick boost out of it. And then get a wild coming down to the line. Well, not all the way to the line, but around that last turn. I'll get it. I'll get it at least once. It's a weirdly specific angle, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But usually I get it. Yeah, I like using this boost right here, just because there's a box coming up, and the ice in these caves is really awful to drive on. Yeah, I don't want to be in the rough. And then this one, I just kind of get over the snow because it cuts out that corner. Oh, okay, it's weird. It's a weird angle. I'm going to get it. I'll get it on the third lap. I'm going to try really hard to get on the third lap. You'll get to see it. I swear it's a thing I can do. It's a weird angle. This jump is really awful sometimes in multiplayer. If you get hit like in midair by something there, you basically have to wait seconds to fall down to the death plane, and then you respawn like before the jump, and it's really bad. It can hurt a lot to get hit on that jump. There we go. Then I brake really hard to hit this last one. There we go, cool. There's the wild. I did it. See, it does exist. Cool tricks that you can do at home. Okay, the last 7 tracks in the list. Some of them are a bit crazy. Here's Golf. Golf is stupid. I'm going to do my best. I have put in some insanely difficult technical tracks at the end, kind of like the sort of finish strong part of the run. And we're going to have some fun in these last few tracks. Yep, that's good. Okay. Here's the fun part. This track was insane to optimize. It took a lot of time. Shoutouts to Geek for figuring out that you could even jump over this wall, which kind of set me on a journey of figuring out how to make Golf crazy. My line was a little weird, but there it works out. Okay, we're fine. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. It's actually been a really good Golf. If I get all 3 laps here, this might work out to be a really good time. Yes, okay, good. Hello, new gold time on Golf. That's amazing. You notice I just made up like 40 seconds on my PB. That's how hard Golf is to do consistently. That's cool. Awesome. I'm glad I got a really crazy good Golf. I couldn't ask for more there. I could ask for more. I could get a really good Vermilion. This track is also insanely technical to do the full shortcut path on. Okay, got it. That's the first part of it. Cool. Make it look easy. It's not. This is actually one of the most. I mean, like I said, I put like some of the most difficult stuff in the back 7 courses on this list. Okay, didn't get the full chain. It's fine. There's still enough speed coming out of that to get this. It's a little less tense because I'm not going quite as fast. Okay. If I pull off lap 3, this is also going to be a gold vermilion. If I get lap 3 just good enough. Yeah, got the full chain. Might get it. One up facing the sign. Smash button into the sign. Oh no, I missed the ramp. Okay, touch the death plane. It's fine. I might still get the gold, actually. Yeah, look at this. Oh, wow, okay. That was supposed to be better. Yeah, the signs on that turn are solid, and I'm specifically trying to line myself up to hit them, so am I going too fast, I can smack my butt into the sign and not fly off the track instead. Yeah, it is a good point. I put it in my script notes, and then I missed talking about that entirely. I skipped over that track because something else was going on probably. But yeah, this game is entirely free to play. You can just search for SRB2 Kart. You don't have to play it at like all these mods and stuff. Like the vanilla time attack scene it's quite fine on its own. The game has a bunch of tracks built into it, like 40, 50 something. And you can just have fun time attacking those in solo if you want. There is one weird thing about time attack in this game, actually, that you'll notice if you play it in the actual time attack mode, which requires you to have no gameplay altering mods loaded, is that when you run over an item box, that item box does not respawn, so you have to take like slightly different routes through some item box clusters to make sure you keep getting boosts on successive laps. It's a bit weird, but whatever. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Time Trial always runs at hard speed, which is kind of like the 100 cc's version of the game, kinda. Actually, no, I take that back. What I'm playing on normal is kind of like the 100 cc version of the game, because there's actually an easy speed, which is like the 50 cc equivalent. That nerd's way over the... Okay, it's in a weird position. That Motobug moves around a little bit weirdly, kind of random, and sometimes gets my way. You'll notice there have been some Motobugs in this course. We're going to see some Motobugs later. In my main racing group, the track we like to finish out our sessions on, we specifically pick Motobug Motorway. It's just kind of become a tradition thing, and as is tradition, I put it at the very end of the list. So we'll finish out with Motobug for track 32. You might ask why 32? It's 8 times 4. It's kind of a classic number for kart racers. Mario Kart has always had cups of 4. And with, like, I think starting with Mario Kart 6, we had like 8 cups built into the game by default. So, and 32 it's a pretty nice number. It works out to just a nice run length, a little bit over an hour, not too long, not too short. Gives me a lot of room to pick a bunch of tracks to have fun with. It's actually been a very good Motobug. I don't think it's gonna be quite gold, but it's gonna be close. I might actually just gold it. Let me just go. Just barely. Okay. I pulled that last drift a little bit short and didn't get it. Okay, here's Omega. This is the hardest, most technical track in the run. I'm going to do my best. Damn. Okay. The respawns on this one are really punishing, too, if you mess up your line. Okay. Well, where am I? Oh, camera. Okay. The camera was inside a wall. That's fine. Okay. Omega is incredibly difficult to pull off. Something's probably going to go wrong on Omega. Yeah, this is like I said, the most difficult technical track. This track by itself is kind of like whatever. It's just a track you drive, and there are like bouncy sections on the sides. But with Acro Basics in play, you do this. You wild chain the ideally the whole track together, and it takes a. This is the one track I spent the most time on. I hit the inside of that. I knew it was going to happen. Yeah, if there's one track that I've put the most amount of time into, it's definitely this one. There's just like a huge grind to try to optimize Omega. Once we realized with our racing group that like, oh man, Omega can probably be really fast. Yeah, it turns out it can. Okay, 143, that's fine. Omega is incredibly variable. That's where I'm going to lose a ton of time, if anywhere. So, and then we get to chill out and have a nice chill time with Choo Choo Space Stadium. I've kind of done like a back and forth sort of like really crazy track and then a nice chill one after it in the last few here. I went through a few iterations of like how exactly to organize some of these tracks and what order to play them, and this list I settled on feels pretty good to run. These blue things, they have just like a set pattern they cycle between, and they are set speed boosters. They kind of just shove you forward. Yeah. Also, on Omega, you get a lot of mew, mew, mew. It's honestly one of my favorite parts about it. Just a lot of mewing. I love this model so much. I only ever play this model. Anyone who races with me can tell you I just play Mew all the time. Almost all the time. There are a couple others I might switch to, but like 99% of the time I'm Mew. I adore this model way too much. This jump right here, you notice I saved the booster for that. I could go over the rough, but it actually works out better to save the booster for it and go for it. Cool, okay. And then get more speed over the red springs because they maintain the speed in there. And then this one, it's worth it just to use the booster to go through, because this one is a set speed jump because there were boosters before. It's effectively a set speed jump because there are dash plates before it. Oh, I wrong drifted. Okay. Sure. That happens sometimes. You have to be... there's a certain kind of minimum amount of, like, holding the analog stick to one direction or digital. You can play digital or analog either way to get your drifter going the right direction. Sometimes you just do it wrong, and then you wrong drift, and you're like, I don't know what's going on. That one wasn't too bad, actually, overall. Could have been a lot worse. It's great with Combi. We're not going to talk about Combi. Combi's a ridiculous multiplayer mode, in which it takes a nod from Chaotix, and you race in pairs, and there's a combi ring stuck between you, and it's a mess. It's a lot of fun. It's utterly chaotic, and you just try your best. I love the music on the stage, too. It's such a jam. Okay, last two. Final Fall. Final Fall is actually really chill despite what it's going to look like. It looks really cool, and it is really cool. I intentionally don't get a perfect start boost here because I don't want one. Because I want to get a radical off of these springs. A perfect boost will not give me the radical, which is slightly suboptimal. Oh yeah, this reminds me to talk about the engine, GZ Doom, and how slopes are whatever the map maker decides they want to be. You'd think on those like slanted track sections that I'm going over, like in the air, that they'd like shove you down like gravity would do. Nah. It's basically flat in terms of mechanic. You just kind of drive straight on it and it works. It's really weird to get used to it first because your instinct is you want to pull into it, but no, it's just effectively flat ground. The slope isn't real. Some slopes are real. Some maps you have to kind of figure out because there's no technical consistency. The map I've told the map tools are really kind of tricky to work with, but very powerful once you figure them out. You can do a lot of creative stuff. And lap 2's a little bit different here. We get to hit this one instead. Yeah, Final Fall looks really cool. A lot of cool high flying on it. It's Kind of a short 2-lap, actually. Well, 2:10. It's not that short, but I feel like I'd like more laps on it just to have fun, have more fun with it. Yeah, and it looks... It's surprisingly, like, once you get the route on this one, it's not too technical to actually race. I didn't boost there, so I'm going to just do it here and hit the wall, probably. No, it's fine. Okay. It was wizardry to make this game. Yeah, exactly. The fact, like I said at the very beginning, the fact this runs in GZ Doom and does what it does is really like a technical marvel. Like, some of the map makers, the modders for this, are insanely creative and talented, and enough credit cannot be given to how good some of the content is. Like, this community is crazy good. Like the game is fine as is, but really the mod community... Ooh, that's just barely gold. Neat. The mod community really kind of like just elevates the game. All right, last track, Motobug. There are Motobugs everywhere, as is by the name of being Motorbug. And the cycles on this, if I don't do anything wrong, let me take the center shortcut all 3 laps. Whew. It's been a run. I'm glad I got some crazy cool stuff in the latter parts of the run to make up for... I don't know. This game, it's pretty tough to race at like a high level. You can really try and get a lot of optimization going on. Get the wild. Yeah, okay, cool. Played this for dozens of hours. I still don't feel like I'm like an amazing racer at it. That door is closing. I'm a little bit late on the cycle. I'm just gonna go around. There's like a crisscross kind of jump thing. You can have some mid-air collisions, which are cool. I choose not to interact with that. I just go around the outside and take little ramps. Straight lines are better. Flirting with his ass with those Motobugs a little bit there. These nerds on this one are kind of random. They'll just be in whatever spots I get to react to them on every lap. And let's see if I get the center shortcut on lap 3 here. Yes, I do. That door is wide open. Cool. Yeah, like has been said, the game is free to play. Just search SRB2 Kart. You can have a lot of fun. Just check it out. It's extremely accessible. Do some time attacking. Oh, I didn't hit my button because I was in midair. Okay, cool. I tried to boost early. Didn't work out for me. And then you can join servers. There's a server listing in game. And if you join a server, it automatically gives you all the mods you need to play. Loads them automatically. It's really accessible. And yeah. That's time. I'm sorry I didn't say it was coming up, but it was last lap of last track. That was time. Whew. Well, that was fun. I'm just happy that went well, really. I'll take 25.6 over PB. That's not bad. And a bunch of cool golds in the last few tracks. But yeah, that's about all I got. Shoutouts to my main racing groups, Komodo Kart and Monitor Kart. You guys are all really awesome. I know I've been like doing a lot of solo grinding lately and not doing much multiplayer racing, but I think now that I've done this run, I'm gonna chill a bit out on the solo and get back to more racing in the groups and having some fun there, and I can learn how to play in multiplayer again. Really fun. Yeah, check out the game, SRB2 Kart. Just search for it. The modding for you can find on the forums. The forums have like all the mods and stuff organized on them. You can go look for track packs and gameplay mods and stuff. There's a lot more than I've even gone over in terms of mechanical mods. So yeah, go check it out if you're interested, and maybe we'll see you on some of our servers sometime.
All right, thank you, Adilor, for showing us this nice little fan game, and has a lot to it. We'll be going to a short intermission, and then we'll be back with the next game here at Indiethon, which is going to be the big Journey Any% by Olvint. Stay tuned.